Hi, everyone. For those in which I have not been fortunate enough to know or meet, I'm Christopher Gay, and I live in Los Angeles. We are in some difficult times. I was recently afforded the opportunity to speak in my Bible study via Zoom, and I was asked to speak from a different perspective about what was going on in our city, our state, our nation, and the feelings and internal conversations that are occurring amongst African Americans. And I didn't want my words to end there, and thus this video. But before I begin, I want to create a safe place for dialogue and progress. There will be things that I say that may stir some emotions, and if you're uncomfortable, embrace it. But ask, why are you? There will be things that will affect you emotionally and cause you to see things a little differently. It's okay. Know that nothing I say is with the intentions to place you in the spotlight or all with intentions other than love and transparency. But we can't keep tiptoeing around certain things because certain conversations are uncomfortable for some. And my life isn't, or my heart isn't flawless. It has some holes and patches and some discolorations, figuratively speaking. And that's what I'm going to give you. We are dealing with COVID-19 and its aftermath. People have lost their jobs, had their hours cut back. Families are blowing through their savings. Children are unable to go to school. Parents are overwhelmed. Businesses are distraught. We currently can't engage in the weekly activities we did 6 months ago because people are scared, frustrated, and angry. And then you have a climactic point in which a black man is killed at the hands of police. That man is George Floyd. Now, for black people, it's nothing new, nor a surprise, but it's another reminder of our value in society. And let me also say, I am not the spokesperson for African Americans. I'm speaking from my opinions, life experiences, and observations. How many black men have been killed since 2020 rolled around? How many have been killed in the last 5 years? A figure states 1,252. That's 1,252 fathers and sons that are gone, not from cancer or gang activities or drug use or natural cause, but by the police. It is the 6th leading cause of death amongst African American men. So you have a pandemic that is disproportionately affecting a population that has already been oppressed, not for weeks or months or years, but for centuries, and that have been killed at the hands of police whom we paid to protect and serve us. We now have the perfect storm. We have people that have been denied access and discriminated against and ostracized and held back and overlooked and repeatedly killed. You have people that have been stuck at home with nowhere to go and not much to do and nothing but frustration and anger to eat. And another black man is murdered. And enough is enough. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired of turning on the news to see men like me die and the world goes back to business as usual. And some say, oh, that was really tragic and man, that wasn't right. And go back to their privileged lives because it doesn't affect you like it does me. And now the nation is burning. People are protesting. People are stealing and fighting. And I keep hearing, why is this going on? Why are they doing this? Does it take all of this? There are better ways. I looked on social media, this was last week, and just to see what my non-black friends were saying in support of the struggles of African Americans. And the large majority was silent. I could count on one hand the number of white friends that spoke out about the injustices or apologized for the silence or poured out their hearts about what was happening. But as a black man, what's new? I hear, why are they looting and burning their own communities? Because now we have your attention. Now you are forced to pay attention. You take our lives, we take your livelihood. See, we did the hashtags and the marches and the t-shirts and the peaceful protests and the kneeling, and you still didn't listen. You still didn't care. You condemned kneeling because you didn't want to see it at your football or your basketball games because it was distracting. We were being disrespectful to soldiers and what the flag and what it represented. You just wanted to watch the game. And we just wanted to be treated like human beings. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equally. It's not true. Justice is blind, but it's not. We cannot be desensitized to the killings of human beings. You're taking their lives, and they're going to hurt you by taking your stuff and your status, and it will continue. Did it take all of this? Yes. Make no mistakes. I do not condone stealing something that is not yours or destroying property you do not own or build or hurting a police officer because guess what? I value life. Not a black officer's life, not a white officer's life, all life because I am a human being and on top of that, I'm a Christian. So when you hear Black Lives Matter, it doesn't mean only Black Lives Matter. It doesn't mean Black Lives Matter more. It means Black Lives Matter too. But Do you agree? No. Because if you did, you wouldn't remain silent. See, white privilege affords you the luxury of not caring because it doesn't affect you. White privilege isn't some mythical idea. It's a fact in America, and facts don't care about your feelings. I can't count how many times I've walked by a white woman and she clenched her purse, or getting in an elevator and having to overly smile so I don't seem so threatening, or being in a class and I'm the only black person. I raise my hand and I know the answer and get ignored, or having someone promoted before me because when I was more qualified, or being denied access to an establishment because it was quote unquote full, or waiting in line and see others walk right through the door, or being pulled over and see the blue lights and have fear overtake me because I don't know what will happen next. That's my reality. I remember a time I got pulled over and I prayed, God, protect me. And I turned on my lights and I put my hands on the wheel. And after being confronted, having 7 cops surround me and ask me to get out of the car and walk back to their car without having been told why I was pulled over, and having them search my car unlawfully with no justification, and having a parade of cars drive by and see me sitting on the hood of the police car, and to be interrogated on where I was coming from and where I was going and what I was doing in that part of town and where I lived, only to be released 30 minutes later because due to questioning, they found out I was on The Office. So they can go back and tell their wives that they met someone from her favorite show. And for me to go back and sit in my car and cry because I didn't have the power of white privilege. See, talking about white privilege makes many uncomfortable because you would have to acknowledge that you benefit from a system that systematically oppresses a certain population. You would have to acknowledge the fact that you may even in fact like the perks of being able to do what you want to do, when you want to, how you want to, and being able to voice your feelings uncensored, raw, and uncut. Acknowledging your privilege would mean that you benefit from a system that rewards you and kills others simply because you're white. When I was born with a death sentence. Should you feel guilty for being white? That'd be stupid. No more than I should be ashamed of being black, but your skin color doesn't give you a roadmap to the grave. And after acknowledging your privilege, you would then have to do something about it, which would be to remain silent and continue living because black matters don't affect you, or you would have to get uncomfortable and speak out. But that's your civic duty. Just like it is to vote and obey the law and pay your taxes, it is your moral responsibility to protect your brothers and your sisters and speak out for those who don't have a voice. If a horse is mistreated or a dog is abused by their owner, I see my white friends get up in arm about the mistreatments of a pet and are vocal with their disdain and support for animal rights and their pleas for GoFundMe support. Am I not more important or worth more than a dog? I live in LA proper, and I see homeless people every day. But recently, I see them everywhere, and it breaks my heart. Not because I was homeless or I am homeless. I care because I'm a human being. And being in my feelings is not enough. I'm not rich, but I take actions for my brothers and sisters. I collect shoes for my friends. Not tons, but some here and there. I clean them up and keep them in my trunk. So when I see a barefooted homeless person, I pull over and offer them something to put on their feet. There's no media. There are no friends to see. And frankly, this is the only time I've ever mentioned this publicly because it's important for you to hear. So it's not enough for me to say it's unfortunate that they're on the street and it's cold or it's hot. I had to do something with the privilege I had, the privilege of having a roof over my head and being able to buy another pair of shoes. Imagine being murdered by police for walking in your neighborhood, or jogging, or going to the store, or leaving dinner with your significant other, or eating ice cream in your living room, or sleeping in your bed. That's what it's like to be black in America. I'm not sure how many of you have seen the video or the pictures of George Floyd with his face in the pavement and Officer Derek Chauvin's knee in his neck. And if you've seen the video, you also saw the life leave George's body. And if you did, now I want you to use your imagination to put my face on him. And I want you to think about the smart Alec Chris, the one that always makes jokes and loves to pray. Imagine the life slowly leaving my body and I die alone on the pavement. Do you care? Does it matter? Or can you go back to your daily lives and forget me in a week? Imagine it was your father or your brother or your cousin or your uncle or your son. If they were black, it could have been them. And if it doesn't register and you still make the conscious decision to remain silent, then you have also made the conscious decision to not call me friend or your brother. Because friends stand up for one another. Brothers protect their brothers. Make no mistakes about it. You guys are exposed to a civil Chris, the transformed Chris, the funny Chris. But don't for 1 minute think that someone could disrespect someone in my inner circle, whatever their race, because they're my family. Don't you for one time think that if I was with my family or friends and something went down, that I wouldn't step in because I love and I care about them. And when you see me online or in person and I'm making jokes or shaking your hand or having a conversation and smiling, don't think that there isn't an internal battle going on and the deaths of African American men don't affect me. A smile don't mean you're happy. A tear don't mean you're weak. Money don't make you powerful, and knowledge don't make you think. We don't want special privilege. We don't want your stuff. We don't want revenge. We just want to be treated like human beings. We want to be valued and respected. We want our lives, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, what do we do now? Because it doesn't end with the burnings and the protests and destruction. But we must stop asking the questions, why are they doing this? And instead, how did we get here? Stop suggesting there are better ways to do things and ask, how do we fix this? Don't tell them you understand how they feel, but instead say, I stand with you and I won't remain silent anymore. Because if you didn't know this, what's dangerous is an angry black man that is tired of being sick and tired with nothing to lose. And what's even more dangerous is his son. See, fathers are still willing to talk things out and be rational even though they're angry. But our sons, soon they won't want to talk anymore. You have to use your position, power, and your privilege and your voice and not remain silent, because if we could fix this, we'd have already done it. And if you don't see that, I don't have the eyes to make you see. The year 2020 reminds me of clear vision. When people say you have 2020 vision, it's perfect vision. This year will be a year we're seeing things more clearly, things you were blinded to, but now see. As I wrap it up, many may have heard of a woman by the name of Jane Elliott. She was an educator. She did her blue eyes, brown eyes class exercises in the 60s and started the day after Martin Luther King was assassinated. I recently saw a short clip of her, and I'll paraphrase what she said. She was in a crowd of majority white people, and she said to the crowd, to the white people, raise your hand if you would like to be treated like black people. No one raised their hand. She said, I'm sorry, I don't think you heard me. Raise your hand if you would like to be treated like black people. No one raised their hand. She said, the fact that you didn't raise your hand means that you know what is happening to black people. You wouldn't want it for yourself. So why are you so willing to allow it for other people? I want to share a conversation that I had with a friend, and I had shared my sentiments about what was going on now and my in general, just my feelings. And afterwards, he began speaking to me, and he got a little choked up, and he basically said, I'm sorry. He said, I would hear things and they were horrible, but I just moved on. I didn't care. And we both cried. Two grown men crying deep-rooted tears. He may have cried because he had to acknowledge his silence, and I know that must have been hard. And I cried because my feelings weren't validated, that people just didn't care. And the other reason I cried was because in his vulnerability, I saw his honesty and I appreciated it. And guess what? I still love him. And that is the only way we can move forward and heal old wounds, by having these conversations regardless of how uncomfortable they are. Acknowledging the wound, what caused the wound, clean the wound, cover the wound, give it time to heal, and let the scar be a reminder not to cause the same injury. If this has touched you in any way, speak up and please share. Not for me, but for the message. Know that you are loved and you are important, and we have much work to do. And the reason for the title of this video is because it's for human beings. And if you're not one, I'm sorry you wasted your time. And please don't put me on any special pedestal because of my words. Keep me on the ground, because when I fall, and notice I didn't say if, when I fall, I'm close to the ground, and I'll walk away with a bruise. But being placed on a pedestal now, that's a fall I can figuratively break my neck. And that teenage boy or girl that may see this in time won't look at me as some hero, because I'm not. I'm a human being. As some don't think they can become heroes, but we can all be human beings. Treat others as such and be treated as such. Infinite love.